Hello, this is Chris Crawford, and in this video I'm going to start going through Gene's new website and show you how to edit the content or change out the existing content. Now, in the overview video, I gave you just a general overview of how the new site works and just a real high-end level look at the back end and the content elements and that kind of stuff. And so what I'm going to do in this video and in future videos is I'm going to concentrate on each aspect of the website. So we'll do this video on the home page, and we'll do available knives, example knives, knife gallery, knife info, and the contact page. Now, I understand that some websites will have more pages than this, or different kinds of pages, or they may not have all these pages. In fact, on Gene's actual website, he doesn't have the available knives, but I created that page just as a demo, and so we'll look at that. What I'm going to do is just edit the content as it exists. So if we want to do something on this home page, like instead of having this one big picture, maybe we want to, well, let's look at my website. I got a lot going on in it real quick. Let's see. Like over here, I have a column, with a page split, and I've got a little picture of myself and some information over here about me and, knives and that kind of stuff. This is pretty complex, but we can do all that stuff. That stuff is possible. However, in these videos, I'm just going to focus on what is actually right there now, and that is going to be what has been converted over from the existing BladeMakers site to the new TYPO site. And so that's what we're going to look at. Now, after I do each one of these videos, then I'll do some additional videos on just general editing, like working with images, working with text, and working with grid elements and some of these things that you can use to change your site up or enhance it. And then I'll always be available for questions and to help you out with that kind of stuff. All right, well, let's get into it. So when we look at this home page, we have a banner up here that when you click it, it just goes back. Say like we can be on any page in the site, and you click the banner, it's going to take you back to the home page. And then we have the menu, and then we have a footer down at the bottom. All of that stuff is set based on the pages that are set up in the back end and that kind of stuff. But what we can edit on this page is the content. Now the content would be anything below the menu and above the footer. And so in this case, we just have a picture. So for this demonstration, we're going to look at how to switch this picture out with a different picture, or maybe even how to put a couple of pictures on there. So let's do that. Well, the first thing we want to do is log in to the editor. Now, in order to log into the editor, we're just going to strip everything off, past the domain name, and we're going to type TYPO3, and it'll come in with a login screen, and you'll log in using the ID that I supply to you. And this brings us into what's called the back end. Now, the back end is where we can see the different parts of the website. And so you see it says Chris Crawford here. The reason for that, I mentioned in the overview, is that I've got multiple websites when I log in that I see. But then this is Gene's site right here. So this is kind of like the root page, or the beginning of the site, and then everything else falls under it. But our first page is this Gene Ingram Knives, and this is the home page. And so we can see the little picture there. If we want to, we can click this View Web Page button, and it pulls it up. And so we can see we got a little editor thing right there. But it pulls the web page up, and so we know that this is the one we're working on. All right. So the only thing that's in this main content area is this picture. Now, this is the page, I guess, section that we're working with right here. There's a gallery section that we'll look at when we get to the knife gallery, so we won't look at that in this video. And there's a file list. And so the file list, we will take a look at this. This is basically where you can upload files and images. You could upload documents, whatever you wanted to the server to be used on your website. Alright, well, let's go back to the page module. And let's change this out. So first thing we'll do is we'll just change this image. Now, one thing you don't want to do if you're just editing content is delete it. Now, we'll do that in a minute. But if we delete it, we've deleted this whole content element. Now, if we don't want this content element to be seen, we could delete it. But we could also hide it by clicking this button right here. You see it's gray. It's got the little minus. And now if we come over here and refresh the page, we see we don't have any content there. Alright, so I'm going to re-enable this. This particular content element is called a file links, and so if I want to edit it, I can click on the picture, or I can actually click on the edit button over here. Okay, so when we edit it, this has just some general information. You're really not going to have to change anything on the front. Now, you could put a header on there, like if I wanted to put something like hello world. If any of you are programmers out there, you'll get that. But let's do save and view the page. And so you see how it put the header right there? Okay. So I can remove the header, save and view page, and then this is going to go away. So that's what the header is. When you pick the header, you can pick the different styles for the header, what size you want it, that kind of stuff. You can align it. Like, in fact, well, let's just go back. Let's do that, and let's do a center alignment, maybe like about an H4. Let's see what that looks like. So see, there it is in the center. So you can play with that. You can use headers if you want to. You don't have to. But I'm going to remove that and save it. What we're interested in is the images tag. Okay, so we're going to go to images, and we have a list of images. Now we only have one thing in the what I'll call a list. We only have one thing. Well, we could actually have as many as we wanted. And in fact, I think maybe what we'll do is we'll add some more. And I'll take this opportunity just to talk about images in general. So let's do add an image. Now we're going to click on his folder tree. Now this is assuming that you have already uploaded the image to your file list. Okay, so where's this coming from? This is coming from our file list over here. So in our file list, here are all the pictures. Now I'll talk in just a minute about adding images to the file list, but well, we're just going to go with one that's already in here for right now. So I'll go back to my page module and click on my content element on my images tab. So I have the one image here, so I'm going to add one. I'm just going to grab this first one. Okay, so I'll put it underneath like that, and we'll add another one. Alright, we got 3 images now, so let's take a look and see how that's going to look on the screen. So save and view page. Alright, so there are my 3 images, so I can scroll the page down. Now we can do some different things with these images. Okay, notice nothing happens when I click on them. Well, let's do something. Let's go to down here and click this button that says enlarge on click. Save and view. And now they pop up in a light box. So you might be asking yourself, why pop them up like that? They're already pretty big. Well, you really wouldn't. If you were using a full-size image on the page, then you wouldn't necessarily want to do that. However, what we can do is we can go in and we can set a width. So suppose we want our images to be, let's say 160 pixels wide. Okay, so now our images are smaller, but when we click on them, they're full screen like that. All right. Now, some other things we can do with images is we can also select how we want them to lay. So if we go down here and look, we have above center, which means the images are centered on the page, and this one above, I guess, well, this actually comes into when you're using a text with image, but if we want to right justify or left justify them, we can do that. Okay, like that. But also what we can do is we can go over here to number of columns. And so if I wanted to set my number of columns to 3, then they're going to line up across the page like that. Alright. So there's that. Now, when we click on one of these images, notice it just says 1 of 3. That means that there are 3 images in this content element. And what that allows us to do is click through the images like this. Now, we could actually have gone in here. Let me exit this. We could have gone into this page and created additional content elements. In fact, let's do that. I want to create another content element. I'll go back and show you how I did that. Alright, so if I want to put content above or content below, maybe up here I want to say welcome to my website or something. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to put content above, and I'm going to use, maybe I'll just use regular text element. I'll say something like, I could give it a header, welcome. And then I can say welcome to my website. I can spell it. Save and view it. Okay, see, welcome to my website. So I have content over it. When I go back to my main page, you see I've got one content block. This is a text. I've got the pictures right here. I can go underneath and I can do another content. And this time, suppose I'm going to add some more pictures. Well, under my special elements, there is, actually, let's see, where is that? No, I just want to do, okay, I want to do text with images. No, I want to do images only. All right, images only. All right, so here's my images only, and I'm going to go to images. I'm going to do add an image, and I'll just pick another image from that's already there. All right, let's save and view my page. Now, why is this image bigger than those other ones? Well, the reason is because we've not set any appearance attributes on it. So if we go back and look, we'll notice that these three images are all kind of linked together. So any attribute that we assign to those images, it inherits, between all of them. So we have 160 above left and number of columns 3. So let's go add it to this one. Oops. Let's see. 160 above left column. Now here's something else interesting. By default, it gives you 2 columns, and so when it was 1 earlier, it's because I set it to 1. I'm going to set it to 3. It's not going to hurt. So save and view the page. Alright, so there's my image. Now if I click through them, well, I've still got 1 of 3. Well, why is that? Why don't I have 4? I've got 4 images on there. Well, the reason I don't is because this is in its own content element. So when we're over here and I created a separate content element, it's isolated from these 3. So hope that makes sense. All right, well, let's get rid of that. I'm going to just click the trash can. Okay. So now we've got, if I refresh this page, we'll just have our 3 images. I really didn't intend this to be a demonstration on images, but now that we've gotten into it, I think it's a good time to do it. All right, what happens if we have a whole bunch of images? Well, we can handle that too, even though we have 3 columns. Let's just add a bunch of images. So I'll say add image. Now if I want to select multiple images, I can click the check boxes like this, and I can import them all at once. So I'm going to say import selection, and they all come in. Now notice they come in with these extra fields. I haven't talked about those yet. I'll talk about them in a minute. But you can click the image and close that box down. Alright, so they're all of them. Now let's take a look and see how it's going to look on the page. Since we have only 3 columns, but we have more than 3 images. So it lines them up like that. And so now we can click through them. So 1 of 9, 2 of 9, 3 of 9, 4 of 9. Now, what about this down here? 2004-03-01 Woody 1094. Alright, so I imported, and I'll be doing this for the BladeMaker sites, is I will import all of your existing images from the current BladeMaker site, and I'll dump them into your TYPO site. When I do that, I'm going to pull in the date that the knife was completed, the name that was given to the knife, and the reference number. Okay, so this first one was 2002-09-01. That's the date completed as it exists in BladeMakers website. The name. So let me just go over here. Look at example knives. So like this right here. This one was completed 5/5/2016. The name of it is 6.5 mag, and the reference number is 4569. And so that's the naming convention that I'm using. I have a script that's pulling them in automatically, so this would be this one right here. Now notice when we pull this one up, it removes things like periods and dashes and slashes and that kind of stuff. What it does is it tries to take the file name and automatically give the picture a caption. Okay, so like if I go, I'm not sure which one it was. Let's see. It's that kind of gray one. I guess it's, no, I don't know. Maybe I didn't pull it in. But anyway, so that's what it tries to do. It tries to give it a caption. Now, if you'll notice on this first picture, I don't have a caption. Well, why not? That's where some of this other information comes in. So let's look at this. Let's look at this first knife and this second knife. Okay, I need to go back to my page module. Go to my images. Okay, so here's my first knife. It's called homepage image. I changed the name of it to use on here. But you notice, well, let's see about this one. Alright, we'll use this one right here. So the system tries to assume this name. So if we look at it, see that? Drop point 100. Now it took the dashes out, it took the extra spaces out. If there's a period in there, it's going to take it out. But we can override this. So if I wanted to say, if I just want to call this drop point hunter, then I can click this override button and dropped hunter. Just save it. Refresh my page, and now see how it says dropped hunter. Now, so let's see. Let's look at this third image. Suppose I don't want to caption at all. Well, all I have to do on the third image is just click overwrite and not put anything in there. Save it. And I don't have any caption at all. Now there are some other things that you can do. There's a description field right here, and I might put slim clip. Now if I put something in this description override, you got to check the button override and save it. It adds the description to the page, okay, under the picture. So see, there it is right there, slim clip. Now we got all these edit icons. I'm going to log out so those go away, and then refresh the page and show you, those won't be on there. So that's how it looks. So the description will put it actually, under the picture. So if you want to put something under each of your pictures that you put out there, you can do it that way using that override. And if you want it to say something when you click on it, then you use the other one. Let's go back and look. I think it's called title. I'm not sure. Kind of forgot. Knives, images. Yeah, this is the title. Now there's some other things. Alternative text. I'm not actually sure what this right here does. I don't really use it, but link. What that will allow you to do is you can link an image to something else. So like for instance, I'm going to go to this bottom one and say I want to link this to another page on the website. If I could link it to a page, expand my page tree, I could link it to a file, to a folder. Usually you're going to link to external URLs, or you're going to link to files or pages. But just say I want to link it to the knife gallery. I can select that, and so it says 318. 318 is the number. See, each page has an ID. I could have just typed 318 in there, but it's easier just to browse, click the button, and select, the page that I want it to link to. Uh-oh. And so now let's save and view the page. So now if I click these, they're going to open in the light box. If I click this one, it's going to take me to a new page. It's going to take me to the gallery. All right, so that's just how the links work. All right, so let me go in here and clean all this up. All right, so like I said, we could hide content like this. We need to turn it off and then save it. Reload our page. We could have done save and view, and see it's not showing even though it still does exist. Now here's one thing to know. Deleting it from this list does not delete it from your files. So they're still going to be on your files. It's just deleting it from the page. Alright, so I'm going to, now if I delete this, it's going to delete the entire content element, so it's going to delete all of them, so we don't want to do that. Just deleting them from the page. But I'm going to go ahead and delete these records. Delete these pictures, are considered records, just to get us back to how we were. Alright, so I'm left with home page image, so I'm going to save and view. Alright, so this is what we're left with. Well, I really want it to get back to looking like his does right here, so I'm going to kind of reverse what we did. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to change the appearance of the picture, for one thing. And so I'm just going to get rid of my width setting. By getting rid of that, it's going to allow the picture to either be 100% of its size, or it's going to allow the picture to adjust based on the width of the website. So if you're like looking at it through a phone or a tablet, it's going to be smaller. Alright, so we did that. Well, what about this? I want it centered. So I'm going to go, still under my appearance tab, and I'm going to say, I'm going to just change this to number of columns 1. I don't think it really matters if you only have one image, but I am going to center it. So I could have selected the drop down there, just use the icon. And let's save and view. Alright, so there's that. And I've got this text element here that I want to get rid of. So let's close that content element. And so here's our two content elements. And I'm just going to delete this one. I could hide it, but I don't want it. So I'm going to delete it. So now I'm back to the one content element, which is the picture. If we view it, then we're back where we started. Alright. So I think that would probably conclude this video. However, because we were touching on images, we're going to go ahead and look at the example knives page. Now, the example knives page is basically what we just did on the home page, but with a little extra information, and all of this should make sense to you now. Okay, so here's the way his example pages work. Now over here, the examples are a little bit different. They're all showing up like this, but then when you click on them, they go to their own page with the information. But over here, let's see, over here, when you click on one, I have it just coming up with a picture, and at the bottom, having information about that that knife. By the way, just giving you, this is an example. This is an example of what this knife would cost if I were to make one, or if he were to make one similar to that. Alright, so I could have it where you click on each one of these and it opens up another page. The problem with that is every time you add one of these knives, you're going to have to go into your back end and create a new page, link the page to it, and do that kind of stuff. So in this new system, that's not really probably the best way to do it. In the old BladeMaker system, when you added a knife, it did all that automatically, but it doesn't quite work that way in the new system. Well, let's look at the example gallery, or the example knives, the example knives page. Alright, so here it is. So what do we have going on? Well, we've got a header. It says example knives. Now if you'll notice this, on the home page I don't have this special kind of header. But when I go to available knives, I've got this header that's got a light background. I go to example knives, knife gallery. So this is kind of like your header for every page, every particular page, showing you what's on there. And I guess this would be a good time to talk about that. suppose we want to edit this information. Well, there's a couple ways to do it. Let's go to it and look at it on the back end. So we're on the example knives page, and if we look at the page, look and see what's on the page, we have several things. We have 3 content elements. We have this header, we have our text element, and then we have our images. So see, we have the header, the text element, and then we have the images. Alright, so if I want to edit the header, I can simply click on it. Example knives 1, 2, 3. Save and view. And so there's 1, 2, 3. So that's editing it from the back end. With these headers, you're not you might want to change what they say, but you're not going to want to change the style. Like, I would not recommend changing the the header type. How does it get in this background on there? Well, that's because over in the Appearance tab, I have a Style of Text banner. Like, I could change this and I could say Ruler After. And these are just some styles that you can apply to actually any content element. So let's save that and refresh it. So if I decided that I wanted to go with this look across my whole site, where I have a header and then I have a line under it, I could do that just by changing the appearance. So there's Ruler After. What else do I have? Ruler Before, which is going to put the line before. Indent, I don't ever use this stuff. Light frame, you might want to use this sometime. Let's see how that looks. I may not have that set up actually. Some of these. Okay, so there's a dark one. I think maybe on that light one you didn't see it, and it might have blended in with this background. If I had a darker background or a different color background, you might see it, but you can see the dark frame. So just some different stuff like that. But usually I use the text banner, and I call it that because it is basically text. It's just text, and it kind of looks like a banner for the page. So let me save and view that. So there's our text banner. Now, notice in these edit icons, we can also edit this from the front end. So I can click that, and I can take this off. Save and close. And then if you're in Chrome, when you save and close, it'll refresh the page. If not, if you're in a different browser, it may or may not refresh the page. You can always reload the page, and you can see that that's gone from there. Alright. Still over here, I need to refresh this page because I changed it in the front end. So there's example knives. So that's the header. Then we have our text element. So where I have our description, click on the picture for description and price, and place an order for one of these knives or discuss custom using material. In these examples, please contact me. That's a link, and I'll show you that in just a second. So here's our text element. And so, there's appearance, there's different stuff like that, but I really don't use any of this stuff except for the general tab on these. And you got a real basic kind of little word processor thing there going on. So we can edit the text right here, and this is our link, and if I click modify link, there's some things you can do with it. I'll do a whole video on links because they can be kind of tricky. If I just created a new link, like 1, 2, 3, and I link this to a page by highlighting and clicking the link. So I'm going to link it to available knives and view this. Links come in with their own style. So it has a link icon. It says 1, 2, 3. If I mouse over it, it puts a line. But in this case, I wanted the line always to be under it. I didn't want this icon on there. And so there's some things you can do, like you can click on the link and you can say remove text style. So if we have no styles on it, then it's going to just be like this. But I wanted it underlined, so I clicked in it, and then I selected blue link. And so blue link is basically just creates a blue link with a line under it. If you're changing the styles on links, you're always going to want to remove the styles first. So Like for instance, if this is a download link, I'll change this to blue link to download and look at it. I'm actually stacking properties, so and it's not going to look right on the front end. So what you always want to do if you're going to change the style is remove that style. See, it removed the download. Now it's a blue link. I'm going to click on it again. I'm going to remove that one like that, and then after that you can set your style. So set it back. It should give me an icon. Yeah, there's like a download icon now. But anyway, I'm going to kill it. So I'm going to remove the link altogether. I'm going to remove that. So there's our text element. So save and view. And then that gets us down to our images. Alright, so with our images, we'll close this content element and go into images. And so click on here. Basically, this is just a file list like we did before. Okay, so in our general, I don't have a header or anything, information like that. But if I go to my images tab, let's close all these down. Whoops. Okay, so if I go to my images tab, I can see all the images, the ones that are showing up on the page. I can also see that they have a description under each one. And so the way I did that is I did override and typed in my description. So I got 6.5 mag. It says 6.5 mag underneath it. Now when we're logged out, you won't see all these little edit icons. And then when we click on it, we have the fuller description under the picture, and that comes from the override, the title override. And so as you see, I went through and I did that for each one of the knives. So did a title override and did a description, and in the title override I just put the general information about the knife and the price. So a user can come here to the example knives page and they can quickly click through and read information about each knife, or just look at the pictures and see what they like, and then, oh, I like that one. Well, let's see, that's a drop point, weathered bone handles, sells for $350. I like that one. I really like it. What kind of handle is that? Oh, that's jigged green G10. Man, that's nice looking stuff. It's $250. Great looking knife. And so the user can go through and look at it like that. So basically what we've seen on this example knives page is the same thing that we saw by way of demonstration when I was making changes to the home page. And so I guess these two things, example knives and home page, will go together. Now I'm winding down this video, but let me make this let me say this. This will be the way that I'll probably pull in some of the example knives, but the example knives don't have to work this way. The nice thing about this is if you have a ton, say you might have 20 or 30 example knives that you want to put out there. This is a quick way to get them out there. It's a quick way for the users to browse through there and take a look at them. I think I showed in the overview video, I know I did, the web stat stuff that you'll have access to. You will be surprised how little time people stay on a website. People will hit a website and they'll browse through what they're looking for, then they're on and then they're gone. And even like with my site with a ton of content, people will come on, and if somebody stays on there for over 3 or 4 minutes, it's pretty rare. So if somebody's coming in looking at an example, this is a great way for them to just come through here, click through real quick, or look at them like this, say, oh, I like that one. But your example page does not have to look that way. Now another option is the way these available knives work, and so I'm going to do a separate video on available knives. But this available knives, basically I have a picture here, and then I have some information. This would be kind of like what we have on the old BladeMakers site right down here. Whoops. So yeah, so I set up 2. This is a lot more time consuming because even though we can copy these content elements and paste them back in and then change the information, it's still a whole lot more timely than going in here, clicking the add image. Let's grab one. We'll do one. Okay, so it puts it at the bottom. So here's the one, coming in here, adding this image, and then me saying right here, dropped hunter. We'll put that as the description, so I'll say that under the picture on the main page, and I'll say, I don't know, I'm just going to say 350, okay, just for not really wanting to put much more in there. Okay, save that, refresh the page, and so I've just added a new knife to my examples, dropped hunter, and there it is. There's the information on it, and now people can click through it. So it's a lot quicker if you have a lot of examples. Now you may only have 2 or 3 styles of knives that you make, and you may not want to put a bunch of examples. You may want to put more information. If that's the case, then you could use this available knife style. But for just kind of the quick and easy getting it out there, I really like the way that this works best. Let me show you one other thing about this that I forgot, and then we'll try again to wind this video down. I want to go in there and remove this one, so let me delete that. Close these out so it'll be easier to work with. These pictures have a slider out here, so you can rearrange them. So if I'm looking at this page right here and I have the skinny semi, but I want that to be the first one in my example, all I have to do simply is grab it and slide it up into that place, save and view my page, and the order has been changed. So it makes it really easy. Again, I would recommend this method for example knives. This is the way that I'm going to set it up when I set up the site, and if you want to change it, we can change it. We can do some different stuff, but anyway, I would definitely recommend that. Switch these back. Alright, well, I'm going to conclude this video, and so basically what we looked at as an overview is we looked at the home page, we looked at how to switch this image. One thing that we did not look at is how to upload an image to the server, and maybe I'll cover that on the available knives, which will be the next one that I do. We'll look at how to actually upload an image into the file list, because you'll have new pictures that you want to put out there. But we looked at the home page, we looked at how to change this image out, and then that took us into just a general working with images, how to do multiple images, how to do columns, how to resize the images and that kind of stuff. And then that led into our example knives page, how to display example knives, how to put the description on here, and how to put the title so that they click on it. So that'll be it for this video. In the next one, we're going to try to tackle available knives. Thanks.